only just arrived for the panel and the interviews, but Colin and I got to spend yesterday sort of doing the floor and lots of other stuff. I feel like we really are part of Comic-Con now.
How did you like the floor?
It's unreal.
Right, you've never seen anything like it.
Not even close. Because we've done Comic-Cons in England and we've done a few in France, but it just doesn't even compare to here.
Right.
You know, everybody's so grateful that you've come over and you feel like telling them this is our treat for the year.
Right.
We're well behaved on set, we get to go to Comic-Con. Let them reward for the producer.
So that's why Bradley's never been.
Bradley was there last year.
That's true, he was.
Probably because you've got Colin and Bradley. There's nothing to film, so they can see the one or the other. So he drew the short story this year. He's back home working with the Knights.
So this next season, is Morgana going to start like really getting it together? She seems to have like lost her mind a little bit last season.
I think lost the mind is maybe, I know what you mean in the fact that she became very driven at what she was and she had come quite far from where she started, but I think she does have a grip on reality, if not necessarily a firm grip, and in season 5 it takes place 3 years after, and you discover in those 3 years that in fact things have gone even worse for Morgana. If you think about it, she hasn't got Morgause anymore, she hasn't got Aggravate, and that's all gone. And not only that, but you discover that her worst fears have come true in the fact that she has been actively persecuted for having magic, and she has been locked in an oubliette by a character that will come in later on in season 5 for 2 years. So everything that she's believed about being magical, the bad parts of it have happened to her, and it kind of sort of consolidates all of what she's been trying to do over the past 2 years, and all her fears have come true, and it means I think that she feels vindicated in her, you know, battle against Camelot. But it's more personal for her now, because I think she feels that, you know, that Arthur and all the things that he stands for are out to get her. So it's not just about regaining her crown anymore. I think for her it's about being accepted, and being accepted for being magical. So that's her for season 5.
So talk about Mordred for a second. Are we going to get to see the evolution of that kind of relationship and where he comes in?
I can tell you, yes, absolutely. There is going to be a relationship between Morgana and Mordred. So he does come back, but it's Merlin, so you don't know how. You don't know what way, but you will see him. Because you can't tell the legend without him. He's an integral part as much as Guinevere or Arthur or anything is. So yes, you will see him very early on. Yeah.
Will the young dragon who helped you at the end of the last season, will we learn more about the repercussions for that, or the reasons for why?
For Thusa,
yes.
For the dragon. Again, it's another part of a story that it's integral to Morgana's story, and Morgana's growth throughout season 5 is her little baby white dragon. Being very sweet. And I think it's part of to do with the legend of Merlin. It's good and evil, light and dark, and everything like that. So yes, you will see it, but I can't tell you how or what way or anything like that. But it is again a part of the story. Everything in Merlin, and I think that's what the producers have done really well, is about balance. And if you've got one bad character, there is a foil to them, and one good. Everybody has a darker side or a lighter side, and I think that plays into that, and you will see that balance maintained.
Awesome.
Anything beyond 5? Have you heard any rumblings about what's going on?
Do you know what's really great actually about it is we get the scripts as we film, pretty much a couple of days before. So we are filming up to episode 9 now, so we have no idea what's happening after. So as far as season 6 goes, we don't know yet. We have been filming solidly since March. We haven't had a chance to sort of, well, the producers haven't had a chance to sit down and tell us what their plans are. So I can tell you what's going to happen as far as episode 9, but I can't tell you anything else beyond that. Which actually is really great for us, because people are starting to ask, and I can honestly hold my hands up and say, oh God, I have no idea. But Johnny and Julian are in the room, so you could corner them. They are the men with the power and the men with the knowledge, so if you find out, you can tell us. But it's one of those shows we've always kind of gone on what's popular, and since the show hasn't aired yet, we don't know. So it's a show that has been really responds to how the public likes it. Each year we get commissioned year by year, and we've just been very lucky that we have been. So, you know, we don't get, it's not so much like an American show that you get picked up for 7 years. We're year by year, so it all depends. But again, ask Johnny and Julia, they let me know.
What has it been like, your arc with the character? I mean, how do you reflect back on where you started and where you are now?
Somebody asked me this yesterday, and it was a slightly different question in the fact that it was the question of whether Morgana would sort of feel redemption at the end of the whole end of this series, whether she would realise what she's done. And it made me look back and think about who she was at the start. And she was this sweet, slightly spoiled, troubled princess, and to go from that to this sort of all-powerful, magical being, it's a huge change. And in a way, it's one of the biggest changes I think for a character in it. Emotionally, I think the biggest one. And I think for her to really become sort of sympathetic and real again, I think she has to, in a way, go back to who she was at the start so that she can understand what she's done. Because right now I don't think Morgana understands what she's done and what she's doing to the people around her. All she cares about is what has happened to her. She's become very self-absorbed.
Right.
I know.
It's all about me.
It is all about her. And I think for her, I'd like to see it because I think it would be really interesting to see for her the results of what she's done, for her to realise what she's put everyone in and herself done, how far she's come from where she was. And I think that would be a very interesting for me as a character. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see how far she's come and then the results of that. I think that would be a very interesting scene to play. I don't know if I'm up for it. Good.
How is it, because you're so far removed now from, the goings on of the cast and kind of everything, and kind of the rest of the cast, how hard has that been for you to kind of, have this completely separate storyline and kind of be away from the support of the rest of the cast?
It's funny because up until I didn't go to drama school, and I'm surrounded by, amazing actors like Angel and Colin and Roddy, and they're all so talented, and, they know what they're doing, and I think the first 3 years of Merlin were really me figuring out how to do everything. And by the time I got to season 4, I was on my own, and I was kind of thrown out, and it was a sink or swim. I didn't have the support of doing a scene with Tony and him helping me through, or Colin or Angel and them. I had to learn how to do it on my own, and I think season 4 really did that for me. As an actor, it really, I think, made me a stronger actor. And what's nice now about season 5 is there is more interaction with the rest of the cast, because I was very much on my own, and my link to Camelot was Aquitaine, and now without Aquitaine, I think even more so, Morgana is more confident, and so in ways that will become clear, she does get to interact more with the rest of the cast, and especially Gwenpool.
Okay. Is she the one that's responsible for the return of Uther in whatever form that may be?
I have no idea. It's funny that, isn't it? It's one of those things that it's a storyline that is a great series, it's a great episode and things like that, so it's not a plot point, so I'll ruin it for you if I tell you. So you should just watch it and enjoy it, and just sit back and let Tony head wash over you. The lovely man that he is.
Well, she's so powerful, I imagine she would have to have something to do with that, but at the same time, we can't imagine for the 3 years that she's been incarcerated, with all that power, how are they able to keep her locked up?
Again, there is a major plot point there that I cannot give you away, but when you find out the reason for which she is incarcerated, it almost harks back to the older Morgana, the softer, the sweeter, the more understanding, and that is how she gets incarcerated. And then the powerful, amazingly magical, wonderful Morgana is how she gets out.
One more question.
One more question. Gary's the boss, by the way. We almost did this.
So last year, it started to get dark. Is it getting very dark this year?
Yeah, it's even darker.
It seems darker, and that's where we left off.
Yeah, I mean, the producers have been really amazing in the fact that they found a formula that worked and was popular. Rather than keep that, they've decided to grow it as the audience grows. I mean, it's 5 years. We're all 5 years older. It would be a bit silly if we were still playing teenagers. So rather than do that, they've grown it, and they discovered that last year they took it and it paid off massively. It was one of the biggest seasons that we'd ever had. And it's one of those shows that it's grown every year in popularity. We haven't slipped back, and rather than rest on our laurels, they've pushed it. So absolutely, it's dark, it's more adult, it's more intense. What's really great about this season, though, is we still have great guest stars, but
are one. I see them as one, rather than before where they were very separate. It feels like this is almost like an American series of 22 episodes, one big long one. And it's a great vote of confidence for us to know that the producers have sort of trusted the four of us to let us carry it. And they've given us great stories, and it's relying on the legend and the amazingness that is coming.
Great.
We're going to get to talk to you.